I'm Rob Licuria, senior editor at Gold Derby, here with Park Hae-il, who stars in director Park Chan-wook's latest film, Decision to Leave. First of all, Hae-il, I read that director Park cast you and Tang-wei, your co-star, before he even started working on the script. So talk me through why you took a leap of faith by taking on a lead role in this film without even having read a single word.
먼저 박찬호 감독님의 헤어질 결심에 제 남자 주연 배우 박해일 씨와 인터뷰를 하고 있고요. 자기가 지금 제가 기자로서 한번 전에 사전에서 읽어봤는데 감독님이 각본 작업을 하기 전에 탕웨이 배우와 박해일 배우 둘 다 각본 전에 먼저 캐스팅을 했다고 들었는데 혹시 그 과정에 대해서 설명을 부탁드리고 또 마지막으로 그 자세한 각본이 없는 상태에서 어떻게 이 감독님을 믿고 캐스팅 제의를 받아들이셨는지 궁금합니다.
우선 박찬욱 감독님하고 또 함께 오랫동안 일해왔던 작가 정석영 작가와 함께 새로운 작품을 준비하고 있었는데 글을 완벽하게 마무리를 다 하기 전에 중국 배우가 필요하다고 그 정석영 작가가 얘기를 했대요.
First of all, Director Park, who I know well as a friend, and the writer Ms. Chung Seok-young, who I have been working with and working on different projects before, and I've heard that they're working on a new project. And before they were finishing up the entire script, the writer Chung mentioned that she's looking for a Chinese actress.
그래서 중국 배우가 캐스팅이 되어야만 이제 이야기를 펼칠 수가 있기 때문에 그래서 글을 쓰는 걸 손 놓고 탕웨이 씨를 캐스팅을 확정한 후에 그 다음에 연달아 이제 남자 배우를 감독님께서 캐스팅하시는 과정에서 제가 만나게 된 거죠.
And because of that, in order for the script to be fully finalized, they had to confirm and cast a Chinese actress in that process. So they put a hold to the writing process and was able to cast and confirm Tang Wei. And after that, the second part was to hire lead main actress, and that's when Director Park reached out to me.
그래서 이제 그 후에 캐스팅이 됐으니 이제 감독님은 시나리오를 완성해야 되니까 그 캐스팅 과정에서 배우들한테 이 영화의 줄거리를 탕웨이 씨 한 번, 저 한 번 이렇게 만나서 한 2시간씩 그 작품의 줄거리를 쫙 설명해 주셨어요.
And once the cast was finalized, before the script was done, Director Park, in order to finish this, already had a scenario in mind. And right after we were both cast, he took at least roughly more than 2 hours each, met Tang Wei and also met me, to sit down and walk us through the entire scenario that he had in mind before script was finalized.
그래서 영화는 그렇게 출발한 겁니다.
And that's how the movie started.
Wow. You know, the film follows Hae-jun as he investigates this man's mysterious death. You become entangled with this black widow in a seductive game of cat and mouse. When you and Tang Wei are on screen, the screen lights up. There's something about the two of you that I really, really valued about the film. What did you most value about working alongside Tang Wei, especially in those really more intimate scenes when the film got quite emotional?
영화를 봤을 때 형사를 따라서 이 첫 번째 살인 사건과 그 미망인이 대한 설애가 나오고 그 모든 스토리를 따라갈 때 항상 그 탕웨이 배우와 박해일 배우가 둘이 있을 때 스크린 자체가 빛나는 느낌이 날 정도로 너무나 둘의 케미스트리가 좋은데 그 탕웨이 배우랑 일을 같이 했을 경험, 그리고 점점 영화가 지속될수록 뒤쪽에서 좀 더 친밀하고 좀 더 각 두만의 케미스트리가 좀 더 진하게 나오는데 그런 연기 스토리나 같이 촬영을 했을 때에 대한 경험에 대해서 좀 얘기해 주실 수 있는지.
우리는 캐스팅 되면서 서로의 언어적인 소통이 그렇게 원활한 편은 아니었어.
When we were first cast, because of the different native language that we had, the communication itself wasn't the most fluent that you would see in any other film.
영화를 보셔서 아시겠지만 영화 안에서도 서로 언어의 소통을 서서히 적응해 나가는 모습들이 보이죠.
As I'm sure you've seen from the film, even within the film and the synopsis, you see the both character getting used to understanding how to communicate despite the language barrier.
그래서 촬영 준비와 촬영을 하는 작품의 내용과 좀 비슷한 톤을 서로 유지해 나가려고 했어요.
And because of that, as we were preparing in pre-production and as we were shooting, we were trying to continue that chemistry, but also keep the tone of developing a better communication despite the language barrier as we learned how to communicate with each other, both in film, but also as actors, individuals.
그래서 촬영이 들어가면서 우리는 관계가 형사와 용의자의 관계로 시작되다 보니까 촬영장 밖에서도 너무 친밀하게 보내려고 하지는 않았던 것 같아요.
And as we crunk in and started to shoot, as our relationship in the storyline starts with the detective and the suspect, we intentionally try to keep the distance outside of the film set so that we can mimic that development of a relationship in both in and outside of the film.
하지만 탕웨이 씨가 한국에서의 촬영은 처음이라 그녀에게 컨디션도 체크도 할 겸 촬영장 근처 공기 좋은 곳을 산책을 하면서 서로의 캐릭터들이나 앞으로 오랫동안 호흡해 나가야 될 그런 관계를 조금씩 만들어 가려고 노력했죠.
But that doesn't mean that I didn't have any other relationship with her as we were shooting. But because it was Tangwei's first time shooting in Korea, and in order to kind of check in on each other, to start to building the relationship as two lead actors and actors, in some nearby the set that we were in, we would often take a walk to kind of communicate, to further understand the chemistry and the character in the film. So we also made sure to also build a relationship to create the best chemistry that you see on the screen.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is in the market later in the movie when your character is with his wife, Tang Wei's character is with her new husband, and you're staring at each other from a distance, and you see the jewel on her shirt, and the longing in your face is it's heartbreaking. It's really well done. Do you recall scenes like that where your character is Hae-jun is the longing, he is driven by his longing for this woman, but he has to keep a distance from her. Was that challenging to navigate properly?
저는 제가 제일 좋아했던 장면은 시장에서 나왔을 때 형사와 형사의 와이프 그리고 상해와 상해가 나왔을 때 서로 멀리서 서로 마주봤을 때 그 서로의 그리움, 그 엄청난 감정 표현이 너무나 가슴이 아프지만 너무나 배우로서 표현해줬다고 생각을 하는데 그런 장면과 같이 만약에 그 형사 캐릭터가 실제로는 자기의 모든 감정을 표현할 수는 없지만은 하지만은 그거를 어떻게든 그리움과 아련한 감정을 묘사할 때 그런 장면을 어떻게 연기하시는지 너무 궁금합니다.
아시겠지만 그 상황이 굉장히 오랜만에 만나게 되는 상황이고 제 옆에 와이프가 있고 되게 당황스러우면서도 그 반가움? 그런 그 여러 가지 감정을 한 번에 보여줘야 되는 아주 감정이 되게 요동치는 그런 촬영이었던 것 같은데요.
As you know, in that situation, it has been quite some time since the character has seen each other. And in that specific scene, my wife is next to me, and everything has caught me off guard, but also very pleasant surprise to see someone and trying to create the amalgam of that emotion and the roller coaster of ups and downs all in that one scene. It was a very difficult, but also an intricate scene to portray.
제 앞에는 모습이 달라진 탕웨이 씨가 연기한 송설애가 나타났고 그 옆에는 또 두 번째 남편이 나타났잖아요.
As you know, there was Song Seo-rae played by Tang Wei, who has a very different appearance and the way she looks, but also standing next to another husband from this film.
혜준의 입장에서는 굉장히 당황스럽지만, 그러니까 말로 할 수 없는 연기를 감정을 담아서 눈빛으로 많이 해내야 되는 그런 씬이었던 것 같아요.
And from Hae-jun's perspective, it's definitely obviously caught me off guard and a bit startled, but also can't say anything, but you have to really carry that emotion and feeling just with how I look at her, how my facial, every muscle I moved. And it was a very delicate scene to portray without using any of the words that I would as an actor.
그래서 그 네 명의 관계의 사람들이 그 미묘한 시선들을 서로 교차하는 되게 흥미롭고 되게 재밌었던 그런 씬이었습니다.
And in that specific scene that you like, with four different people having intricate yet not fully revealed relationships and intertwined, and having different stares and different eye contacts that some of them do meet and some of them do not meet across each other. It was it was, to say the least, a very interesting scene to portray as an actor.
Yeah, there's so much going on in that scene. It seems simple, but it's really not.
그 장면에서 정말 간단한 장면처럼 보이지만 너무나 많은 일들이 일어나고 있는 게 보였습니다.
네.
Yes, you're right. I agree.
It brings me to this. My takeaway from the film is that suspicion and desire, it's a similar feeling because you're trying to work out what the other person believes or is motivated by. And it really fascinated me how these two characters navigate that throughout the whole film. And I just wonder then, for you were in the film, what was your takeaway personally from the film and what you thought the main theme of the film was?
제가 영화를 본 입장으로서는 이 탐정이 형사가 용의자를 의심하는 그 감정, 그리고 사랑하는 사람이 서로의 욕망을 표현하는 그 감정 자체가 너무나 비슷한 곳에서 오는 감정이라고 생각을 했고, 그 서로가 서로의 의도가 무엇이고 어떤 감정을 가지고 어떤 행동을 하는지를 서로 맞춰가려는 그 탐정물과 형사 그리고 로맨스물의 감정, 그 평행하는 감정 연기가 너무 좋아요. 감정의 흐름이 좋았는데요.
네.
배우자로서 자기 선배님은 이 전체 영화를 봤을 때 자기가 가장 느꼈을 때 가장 큰 느낀 점, 감상, 이 영화로서 자기 촬영한 배우로서 가장 많이 느끼고 배운 점이 있다, 새로운 깨달은 점이 있다면
결국 영화라는 게 매체가 사람을 다루는 이야기잖아요.
But yes, at the end of the day, any kind of film or movie, it's always about a story of people and their lives.
이 영화 속에는 사람 누구나 성인이라면 겪을 수 있는 순수한 면과 자기를 솔직히 드러낼 수 없는 각자가 가지고 있는 내면의 상처를 보여주는 작품이라고 생각해요.
And this specific film, I think it shows any adult, any mature individual it talks a lot about very pure and innate feelings that anyone would have, but also those instincts and feelings that they are not always allowed to portray and really express. And also talks about a lot of internal wounds and internal traumas that one may have as an adult who are not always, but our society doesn't allow us to really be okay or expressing that.
관객들은 영화의 중반부까지는 탐정 수사극의 장르로서 즐기겠지만 이 영화가 마지막까지 흘러가면서는 결국 이 사람의 어떤 내면들을 들춰보게 되는 내 얘기 같은 얘기로 다가오는 그런 식으로 감독님은 결말을 만들어내신 것 아닐까 싶습니다.
I think the audience would agree that until about halfway to the film, they see this as a typical detective film as a genre. But as it goes towards the end and the climax, it really opens up the internal feelings and hidden instincts of an individual that we all have. And I think that's what the director wanted to really elaborate on the storyline to make it more relatable by every individual who may have that feeling that with the limitation they live in a society where they're not allowed to express everything they want to.
Yeah, and then of course Hae-jun ends up on the beach still searching for her and for answers. He doesn't get what he wants at the end, and it leaves us feeling untethered and confused. And I think, and that's okay. Did you like the ending of the film?
그 말에 받아서 한 번 더 말하자면은 마지막에 바닷가에서 나온 장면에서는 결국 해주는 자기가 찾고자 하는 걸 찾지 못하고 그리고 그걸 보는 사람들의 입장에서는 너무나 헷갈리고 혼란스럽고 당황스러우면서 완벽하게 약간 뭔가 정리가 안 된 느낌의 슬픔이 가지고 있는데 그리고 그것도 자기가 봤을 때는 그게 나쁜 건 절대 아니지만은 배우님은 직접 그 결말이 마음에 드셨는지 그렇게 끝나는 새드 엔딩이 개인적인 의견이 궁금합니다.
이 영화가 갖고 있는 톤은 그 결말이 그러해야 하는 게 어떨까, 더 좋은 게 아닐까라는 생각을 해봤어요.
I think the way I see it, the tonality that this film has by its nature, at one point thought that that is the only way how the film should end. That makes sense in the overall overarching theme of the entire film.
우리는 실생활에서도 사람과 사람 간의 오해와 오해 속에서 혼동을 하면서 살기도 하고 또 진심을 드러냄과 동시에 상처를 받기도 하는 그런 시대를 살고 있잖아요.
I'm sure you can agree that even in our real lives that between a person and person in any relationship between two people or more than two, there's always misunderstanding and there's always chaos created from those misunderstanding. And also what at the same time, we try to be honest and share what we really truly feel to own up our truths. But at the same time, that leads to us getting hurt by other people that we love.
영화 속에서는 서로 사랑한다라는 표현의 말 없이 서로의 감정을 뒤늦게 마지막에 알게 되는, 깨닫게 되는, 그래서 해주는 바닷가 어딘가에 있을 송소래를 하염없이 찾아다니는 그 장면으로 마무리한다라는 것은 이 영화가 갖고 있는 가장 매력적인 지점이 아닐까 싶습니다.
In a film where it's a love story without anyone actually saying the word "I love you" to each other, where towards the end of the film that each characters learn the true feeling about how they feel about each other, and perhaps it's too late, but they do realize even if they may not find everything they wanted in a happy ending. The way it ends with Hae-jun looking for Sore, who's somewhere in the ocean that he cannot find. I think the way it ends is really the true beauty of what this film can actually bring to the audience.
이 영화의 아주 그 장면에 되게 재미난 에피소드를 말씀드리자면,
and speaking of the scene, there's an entertaining episode that I want to share about that specific ending theme.
그 바닷가에 그 물이 만조가 찰 때랑 그 파도가 아주 거세게 차는 그 장면을 찍기 위해서는 2달에 한 번씩 오는 그날을 만들어서 찍어야 됩니다.
The scene, in order to achieve the ocean scene that you saw with the high tide with strong waves, the location we were in Korea, that opportunity comes only once in every 2 months.
그러니까 같은 의미로 그날 찍지 않으면 2달을 기다려서 스태프과 배우들이 다시 찍어야 되는 상황입니다.
Which also means that if we didn't get the take that we wanted, we would have the entire staff have to go back there 2 months later to do so.
그러니까 배우 입장에서는 너무나 긴장되고 그날 꼭 좋은 장면을 만들어내야 된다는 책임감이 생긴 거죠.
And as an actor, it definitely was a lot of pressure, also a lot of nervousness, but also I felt like I had this responsibility to create an amazing scene that day. Otherwise, everyone has to come back in 2 months to do again.
그래서 그 간절함이 아마 담겨 있을 겁니다.
And I think that's why you might see some desperateness in that scene. Is not just the acting, but also as a person, I felt desperate to have the responsibility to get the shoot.
그래서 바닷가에서 이렇게 서래를 막 찾다가 넘어지는 것도 되게 자연스럽게 그 물이 탁해가지고 그 밑에 돌이 있는지도 모르고 넘어진 거였어요. 설정이 아닙니다.
And even in that scene, as Hae-jun's running around and underwater, that he falls. That wasn't part of the script, but the wave was very high and the water was very murky. So I actually tripped over a rock and it wasn't something I intended to do, but just situational setup kind of led me to having a great desperateness in the film that you see.
그때는 가장 추웠던 한국에선 가장 추운 계절 1월이었어.
And it was in January, which is the coldest month of the year in Korean Peninsula.
Well, that's called commitment to the art. Hae-il.
예술 작품을 하기 위한 엄청난 책임감과 그걸 이루어지는데 노력이 너무 대단하십니다.
너무 추워서 아무 생각도 안 들었습니다.
Honestly, it was too cold. I couldn't think of anything else at that moment.
Anyway, I want to thank you for your time. This was a huge success at Cannes, and I think it will continue to be. So congratulations on a fantastic movie and a great performance.
너무 시간 내주셔서 감사하고요. 칸에서도 너무나 좋은 반응을 받았고 앞으로도 점점 더 좋은 반응을 받을게 믿어 의심하지 않습니다. 시간 내주셔서 감사합니다.
네, 만나서 반가웠습니다.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Robert. Thank you so much.